Guys, there are spoilers for this film in this review, so if you don't want to end up on the naughty list, go out with your film and come back. You have been warned.
Hey guys, welcome back to another week of Ticket Tuesday. I'm your host, Rohan HD. So yeah, this is going to be a great time.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Ticket Tuesday. I'm your host, Rohan HD, and this week we watched Silent Night, Deadly Night 2025, a remake of the original from 1984 of the same name. This film is starring Rohan, Campbell, and Ruby Modine? Sorry, I probably didn't pronounce either of those correctly. Either way, this film is not even, to me, it doesn't even really feel like a horror movie. It feels more like ironically, like a really bloody superhero movie, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very fun, very enjoyable, and I'll explain why I think this and more back at the house.
How many people have you killed?
A lot.
Do you have to dress like Santa?
It helps me slip from Billy into something else. Punish.
Wait. Keep it on.
Are you ready for this?
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Take It Tuesday. I'm your host, Ronan Time HD, and with a late Christmas episode. I know Christmas already passed, but better late than never, right? I got a second Christmas review for you. From like before when it was actually upcoming. Either way, we reviewed the 2025 remake of Silent Night, Deadly Night, which was originally released in 84. As I said, this is the 2025 remake. It is like a soft horror film, but it's, to me personally, more like a really gory like superhero movie, and I'll get into why I think that later. But this film is starring Rohan, Campbell. I believe I'm saying that correctly, and and Ruby Modine. Sorry, probably didn't pronounce that right either. Either way, this film, I'm just gonna go right into it. Now you might ask, Ronan, why do you think this movie is a superhero movie? And if you didn't ask that question, I don't care because I'm answering it anyway. I think this movie is a superhero movie because the main guy, even though he's like, like killing people, being like serial killing, slaughtering people, it's not like he's just killing random innocent people. He's killing like evil, bad people. He's like a vigilante, right? He's like, weeding out the bad eggs, so he's not like an evil murderer. He's a killer of killers. Kind of like an anti-hero a little bit. And he has like superpowers as to where, like, if he looks at somebody, he can see the evil within them, to see how truly evil they are. So if you're good at heart, he won't kill you because you're not evil. But if you are evil, he'll know, and then he'll kill you, right? But only during the Christmas season. I have to specify. He only does it like an advent calendar every all 24, 25 days leading up to Christmas. So I guess if you want this guy to do like crime, fighting against evil, you gotta wait till the Christmas season, I guess. You gotta wait till justice is served, I guess. Either way. And I found that a very entertaining aspect of the film. I very much enjoyed that aspect of him basically being like a Christmas-obsessed Punisher, right? I did like that. And also I thought the gore was great. I really liked the way the film looked. I really think it just was very visually appealing. I don't really know how to describe it. It just had that, maybe looked a little grimy. Maybe is a good, but in a good way, not a bad grimy, like a good grime, But I also think, I don't know, I think it was simple. I think it was, like, beauty and simplicity. Like, the story wasn't that complicated. It was this guy who, he's been doing this for 10 years, killing killing some people every day for 10 years on Christmas season. And he's starting, to get sick of it because it's, I guess it takes a toll murdering people for 10 years. So he just kind of wants to, settle down and live a normal life. He wants to get a girlfriend, just be a normal functioning member of society. But a wrench gets thrown into his plans. For one, the one day he broke his 10-year killing streak. And, he had been doing it because the whole idea was if he hadn't murdered somebody, then somebody who shouldn't be getting murdered will get murdered. And he's like, oh, that's just like, he thought it was just a superstition because he'd never not murdered somebody, until then. But, unfortunately, his girlfriend's father was murdered by an evil child kidnapper. So it seems that literally it was a curse, and he kind of had to do it, he doesn't really have a choice. Then, of course, he tracks down and gets vengeance and vanquishes the evil child kidnapper. But also along the way, he murdered a couple more evil people along the way, including an entire party of Nazis, which is pretty good. When I saw him axe murdering an entire group of like 20 to 30 Nazis, I'm like, I don't really think this guy's that bad. Because at that point, the movie kind of keeps you guessing. Like, at the beginning of the movie, they're like, oh, is he just crazy, like, murdering people? Because the thing is, he's not just killing people, as I said, he's not killing people who he perceives as evil. He knows if they're evil, just flat out evil. He just knows it, right? It's like a spider sense, but with evilness, right? And, he just, like, slaughters an entire room of Nazis. And they don't tap dance around showing a swastika, okay? It's very prevalent in that scene. And I also like how there's, like, blood getting splattered over like, the Nazi flag, and, like, he burns the entire compound down. And, like, the lady who he just went there to kill one lady, and then he realized it was a room full of evil people, and he's like, well, I'll just kill all of them, why not? I mean, they're all evil. Nobody wants them in this world, so why not take them out of it? Who's gonna miss them? And it's just funny, though, because he kills a lot of them, but then the girl who he went there to kill, she gets an Uzi and she's trying to kill him, but then she just ends up shooting everybody that isn't him. And it's not even like other people were in Santa costumes, but he had a knife in his shoulder. It shouldn't be that hard to distinguish him from the other guys. But no, she ended up just, like, killing everybody else for him, like, doing the work for him. Which is convenient. I guess Nazis aren't only evil, they're also stupid, which is true. But yeah, that was an entertaining scene. I like how his first, like, on-screen kill, at the beginning of the movie, he does kill somebody off-screen. We only see him kill that guy later in the film, but, like, the first on-screen kill we get is this guy named George, right? Who's this really, like, kind of creepy old guy, who's, like, kind of being, you could sense he was evil, right? He was evil, but people didn't know because he had a facade that he was just, like, this nice old man. And at first, you think that our main guy, Billy, kills him because he's kind of being, like, a little creepy, a little touchy with the girl, Pam, that he likes. But it's revealed later that he murdered his wife and rolled her up in a blanket and put her in the basement, right? So he wasn't murdering him because he was being touchy. He murdered him because he was evil and a murderer, right? And I did like that reveal, later on, because he wasn't crazy. I mean, maybe he was a little bit. Like, he almost killed a child with a box cutter. Like, he had to be convinced by not a voice in his head, by the man Charlie in his head that he shouldn't slash a child to death with a box cutter. He kind of was he has a few screws loose. Yeah, I feel like to have this occupation kind of do though. Like murdering people for a living is probably going to take a toll on you. You got to have a bit of a mental fortitude. However, although I did enjoy a lot of the film, and I do think overall it's a very fun package, I do feel like there's one noticeable nitpick that I feel like was easier to ignore as the film went on, but at the beginning it was kind of distracting. So, obviously, horror movies and basically any movie have, song, like audio cues, to like emphasize a scene. That's nothing new. Films have had that since like ever, right? Ever since audio tracks have been able to play in movies, there's been like some subtle audio cues. However, I feel like this movie kind of overdoes it a little bit. Like at the beginning of the movie, it's just like really overbearing and it's very distracting from a scene. And I think some scenes were trying to be like tense, and I think it's kind of hard to get invested in a scene when there's like loud ass music overpowering every other sound, like every other bit of audio in the song going it's very distracting. Right? And it kind of takes away from the scene a little bit. Like there are some scenes that I think would have been more tense if they had just been completely silent, right? I think less is more when it comes to horror movies. Obviously, this movie is not intended to be scary, right? It is more of an action movie than anything, with horror elements. However, I will say that as the movie goes on, it appears less and less, because as the film goes on, it starts to reveal itself as less than a horror, because it kind of tricks you into thinking it's a horror movie at the beginning, and then it starts to reveal to be more of like as I said, a superhero action movie. So those audio cues are less prevalent, or I got so used to them that I just didn't notice them anymore, because I realized I'm not supposed to be on the edge of my seat, right? Like there is no I guess there is tension in the final scene, like against the bad guys when he's fighting them, but that's not because it's scary necessarily. That's just because he's fighting the bad guy. He's fighting the villain. And one thing that I also do like is that if this movie makes enough money, they definitely could make a sequel, and they tease a sequel at the end, because the whole reason he has the voice in his head, giving him that evil spider sense, is because when he was a child, his grandfather vomited blood and died right in front of him, and then his parents drove him home, but then this guy in a Santa costume came in and fucking blasted both of them with a shotgun, right? And in the beginning of the movie, you just think he's some crazy dude with a shotgun, butchering people, right? But it's revealed later in the movie that the voice in his head is actually that dude in the Santa suit, and he had the same gift that our main character, Billy, has. And the parents, they weren't, just innocent parents. No. They poisoned his grandfather so they could, get his inheritance, right? So obviously they were evil, so he had to deal with them. But then, so he holds, when that guy's dying, Charlie, that guy, he holds his hand, and then his, I guess his soul, gets... I don't know exactly how it works, but he's just in his head now, and he helps him out, right? And at the end of the movie, Billy dies, but he goes in his soul, I guess, goes into Pam's head, and now she has the gift of, having to murder 25 or more evil people every Christmas season. So it's a blessing and a curse, because if she doesn't do it, then people will die if she doesn't murder the bad people. So, but I mean, hey, murdering bad people, they're bad people, I guess, and she's got the guts. So, and there's a sequel. She could be, the new Santa killer. I guess, would she still have to wear the fake beard? Probably. I mean, that's a part of the thing. It's part of the gimmick. Either way, I think the film was just a very enjoyable time, and I had a lot of fun with it, although I do think, obviously, I had some nitpicks. Overall, I think it was a very enjoyable experience, and I would recommend it, I guess, if you're a fan of the original Silent Night, Deadly Night. or if you're just a fan of Christmas horror films, even though this isn't much of a horror film. And, you know, with that being said, I think I would rate this film a 7.5 out of 10. And, yeah, I guess that's what I need to say. I think I've said my piece. So, guys, I hope you liked this video. Share, friends, subscribe, turn those notifications on. Comment down below what you liked it. But you guys know how it goes. I didn't really mean to say that. What I really meant to say was if you guys hated this video, unsubscribe, dislike it, tell me what you hate me in the comments. And I've been Rohan off to punish the naughties. And if you're asking what that means, I don't know exactly. I just thought it, like, rolled off the tongue good. You know, like, I was gonna say, like, punish the naughty children, but he doesn't do that. He punishes the naughty adults. But I also thought that sounded weird, right? I'm off to punish the naughty adults. Like, that sounds like another kind of naughty that I'm talking about. You know what I mean? And maybe those naughty adults would enjoy being punished. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm saying. So, I was watching this movie, right? And, you know, the whole time, I'm like, this is like if the Punisher was obsessed with Christmas, basically. And if he had, like, you know, a very deep-voiced guy talking to him the whole time. Which, I mean, maybe he has voices in his head. I don't really think the Punisher's completely stable. I mean, hey, maybe the Punisher does love Christmas, and he's just stubborn about it. Leave it down in the comments. Does Frank Castle, the Punisher, does he love Christmas? Leave it down in the comments, you know? Fuck, I forgot. Hang on, let me do that again. I forgot the whole damn kit and caboodle.